Look at this map. In an era where travel took months and geography was largely a guessing game, a single 20-something king shaded in everything from Greece across the massive Persian Empire all the way to the edges of India. 2.5 millennia later, we still call him Alexander the Great. But looking at the brutal legacy he left behind, we have to ask, was he a singular visionary who constructed the largest empire in history, or a man who conquered the known world, yet failed to control his own mind? The drive to rule everything began here, in the ancient Macedonian capital of Pella. Born in 356 BC to King Philip II, Alexander grew up as a royal prince. He had every privilege imaginable, but those privileges came with an intense, relentless pressure to excel. That pressure forged a sharp, fearless instinct. When he was just 10 years old, a trader brought a massive, completely unruly horse to the royal court. While grown men failed to control the animal, Alexander calmly approached, spoke to it softly, and climbed onto its back. Watching his young son ride the beast, King Philip told him, "Seek a kingdom worthy of yourself. Macedonia is too small for you." To hone that raw ambition, his father hired the philosopher Aristotle to act as a private tutor. Aristotle instructed the teenager in logic, religion, and philosophy, cultivating an intellectual hunger inside Alexander that would eventually translate into an insatiable need for total expansion. At 16, Alexander got his first taste of command by violently crushing a rebellion of Thracian tribes while his father was away. But his path to the throne was suddenly threatened. King Philip took a new wife, a pure-blood Macedonian, meaning any child she had would have a stronger claim to the crown than Alexander, whose mother was from a foreign state. The succession crisis ended abruptly. During a royal wedding in a grand stone theater, a bodyguard stepped forward and stabbed the king, killing him instantly. Overnight, 20-year-old Alexander inherited a volatile kingdom. Sensing a power vacuum and assuming the young king lacked the strength to hold the realm together, Greek city-states like Thebes immediately revolted to reclaim their independence. Alexander responded with cold brutality. To permanently secure his crown, he executed Philip's new wife, her infant child, and every remaining political rival. He then marched a 3,000-man army straight to Thebes. He destroyed the city entirely, brutally slaughtering its defenders, and sending a wave of absolute terror rippling through the remaining Greek states. Alexander's very first major conquest was entirely internal. He ruthlessly subdued his own people and his own empire, proving immediately that his vision of rule would tolerate absolutely zero dissent, boundaries, or rivals. With Greece firmly under his heel, he looked east. In 334 BC, Alexander led an army of 40,000 soldiers across the Hellespont to invade the massive Persian Empire, convinced the territory was a gift granted to him by the gods. Look at this tactical layout of the Battle of the Granicus River. Facing a deeply entrenched Persian defense, Alexander utilized a highly concentrated, wedge-shaped assault. He drove his forces directly into the river and violently pierced the Persian center, breaking their lines and securing a crucial early victory. He continued down the coast, deploying equally aggressive tactics to break fortified positions. At Halicarnassus, he trapped the enemy using massive siege towers and catapults, maintaining a suffocating blockade for 2 months until the Persian defenders set their own city on fire and fled by sea. He knew that maintaining momentum required psychological victories too. Arriving in Phrygia, he was presented with the Gordian knot, a legendary, impossibly tangled rope. The local prophecy stated whoever untied it would rule Asia. Alexander didn't bother solving the puzzle. He drew his sword and sliced it in half. That same stubborn pragmatism fueled the siege of Tyre. When the island fortress refused to surrender, Alexander spent 7 months ordering his men to pour rock and timber into the ocean, physically building a land bridge to reach the walls. Once inside, his frustrated army massacred 8,000 people. Alexander's victories rarely relied on sheer numbers. He often fought at a numerical disadvantage. Instead, he treated geographic and military obstacles as psychological levers to shatter enemy morale. By the time he reached Egypt, kingdoms were surrendering without a fight. The Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator, crowning him pharaoh and a son of God. Here, among these very foundations, he established Alexandria, soon to be a global trading hub, before pivoting back east to hunt down the Persian king, Darius. The decisive clash came at Gaugamela in 331 BC. Despite facing an immense Persian force, heavily equipped with war chariots and elephants, Alexander's tactical spacing allowed his infantry to absorb the chariot charges without breaking formation. Watching his lines collapse, Darius abandoned his army and fled the battlefield. Alexander kept pushing. By 327 BC, he had crossed into India, where he met the formidable King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes. Though Alexander's forces eventually captured Porus, the Macedonian king was so impressed by his enemy's bravery and tactics that he restored his territory and made him a co-ruler. He had now conquered more territory than any ruler in human history. He desperately wanted to push further into India, but his men had been marching and dying for years. Exhausted, drenched by monsoon rains, and desperate to see their families, the most feared army in the world simply stopped. They mutinied, refusing to take another step. Alexander's military intellect could shatter foreign empires, but his unending drive had finally broken the spirit of his own soldiers. Forced to turn back, Alexander returned to Persia, but he didn't behave like a traditional Greek conqueror. He began to absorb the culture of the people he had defeated, adopting Persian court customs, dressing in their royal robes, and demanding his subjects treat him as an Eastern monarch. He wanted to permanently fuse the two worlds together. At Susa in 324 BC, he organized a massive mandatory wedding ceremony, forcing his top Macedonian generals to marry Persian noblewomen to create a single blended ruling class. This aggressive integration deeply alienated his oldest and most loyal veterans. They watched their king execute Macedonian officials for corruption, while increasingly surrounding himself with foreign advisors, drifting from a familiar military commander into a distant, absolute emperor. He settled here, within the imposing brick walls of ancient Babylon. But peace didn't suit him. He immediately began drawing up plans to conquer Arabia. At the same time, his behavior spiraled into a routine of excessive daily drinking and endless lavish parties. On the night of June 1st, 323 BC, after another heavy bout of drinking, Alexander returned to his quarters and collapsed with a violent fever. Over the next 12 days, the health of the world's most powerful man rapidly deteriorated. At just 32 years old, he died. Alexander's legacy is defined by a single contradiction. He created a revolutionary blend of Eastern and Western traditions, yet succumbed to an ambition so vast it killed him, leaving behind a fractured empire, grieving soldiers, and a tomb that remains lost to history.